Hey everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome to my shop. Today is April 11th and this is my weekly shop update. So the big thing going on in the shop this week is my trim project. I am getting a pretty good amount of progress done on it this week. I started off the week, or I guess it was more like the weekend. I got a few pieces of the casing molding all sanded and finished. I got 5 of them done, and those I am working on installing right now. So let me show you how far I've gotten on the install. So here's how far I got with the install. I started along this back wall here. So this piece of baseboard runs from one side all the way to the other with flat ends, and then the sides are coped into that corner. And I'll show you a sample of that joint down in the shop in a second. But I started there and I started wrapping around here, and I had to get this casing installed first before I could put this in. That's scrapped to the floor, scrapped to this casing, and coped and mitered at that corner. So while I was over here, I installed the other leg of this casing around this door just to get that out of the way. And now I'm going to work my way around the other side of the room, the long wall, before I start working on the other stuff, because I'll probably have some offcuts from working on this wall, which is like 21 feet long, I think. So I can use those offcuts to fill in like this little section right here. So that's where I'm at right now. Let me show you this coped mitered joint thing. So here is just a really quick and dirty example of that joint. This wasn't fit very well. I just kind of knocked it out as fast as possible. But as you can see, the cope piece receives a totally coped away profile of this one, essentially, the negative of it. And then on the top here, I have this little mitered tail thing, so that when the two pieces come together, from the top side, it still looks like a miter joint, but it's actually coped. So the reason you want to cope these things instead of just doing a 45-degree inside corner is because you're trimming out a house, and walls and floors and walls to walls and floors to floors are not always 90 degrees. So these pieces could be intersecting at something other than 90 degrees. They could be laying against the wall at something other than 90 degrees, and they could be splayed in or out at something other than 90 degrees. So trying to find the perfect angle to get these two pieces to come together at a perfect bisection of all three of those angles coming together would be very difficult and probably time consuming. So by coping out the mating piece like this, it allows you to fine-tune the exact fit, so no matter what angle this thing is coming in at, you can just file away some waste material here until you get a nice perfect fit, and it looks like it was done perfectly every time. So I have a few new tools in the shop this week. First up is a spoke shave. A lot of people recommended that I get a spoke shave when my wife was carving that spoon. So when I was at the woodworking shows in Atlanta, I picked up this round bottom spoke shave from Veritas at the Lee Valley booth. And I went with the round bottom because this is going to be really, well, it's supposed to be really good. I haven't used it yet for concave surfaces. I'm pretty well set on convex stuff. I have pretty good methods of doing that. So I figured this gives me even more of ability to get into inside curves on things. So looking forward to trying this out. I've wanted to do a little bit of spoke shaving work for quite some time. Next up, I got a reject mallet from Dima. This is one of his cherry burl mallets with a curly maple handle, and he said that it had too much epoxy in it, so it is a reject. Still works really well. The head is stabilized and full of resin, so it's really heavy. I think this is like a 1-pound mallet, but it's not very big, so looking forward to doing some more carving. And the biggest thing this week, check this out. Look at this beautiful, beautiful carcass saw. This was a gift. It was made for me by Brian over at Bearcat Wood. This is a sticker right there. I think this is just amazing. The shaping on the back and the actual blade, it's just really cool. And he made the handle size to my hand, so it's a nice custom fit. It really feels really, really good in my hand, my tiny little baby hands. It feels really good and it cuts extremely well. Brian did a video on making the saw actually over on his channel, so I'll have a link to that video in the description. You can check it out. It's so cool to see someone else make something like this, and I've never seen anything like that much shaping on all the parts. So Brian did an amazing job on this. Thank you, Brian. I really, really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to getting back into the shop and doing some woodworking that involves cross-cutting by hand. All right, so let's get into some viewer projects. So first up is this walnut trestle table by Dustin. This thing is just gorgeous. One of the funny things about this design is that the side with those two dados in it were supposed to be one big dado, not two, but as he was cutting it, he liked the look of the two small grooves there, and he kept it that way, which I think is a really nice and interesting design feature of this table. Also, a sort of a unique thing about Dustin's shop is it's in an attic. Great job on this, Dustin. Next up is a phone charging lamp by Drew. Drew has a video on his YouTube channel making this lamp. In the back of the lamp is a USB plug to charge your phone and other smart devices, and it's made from 1/2-inch plywood and poplar with pocket holes and miter joints. Check out these wooden beer mugs by Damjan. Damjan is 15 years old and lives in Canada. He doesn't have his own woodworking shop, but he's taking classes in high school right now. What I like most about the mugs is that it's made up of beveled strips, so pretty nice work on the joinery there, getting all those angles correct to make a roundish object. Lastly is a chair by Matt. This is the Scriptylia chair. He's a student studying furniture design in the UK, where he made this chair made out of ash and leather for the upholstery, and it was shaped entirely by hand. He just used a Japanese saw rasp, a cabinet maker's rasp, and a rat tail file. It took about 4 days to round it off and 4 days to sand before it was ready for finish. But look at this thing. Look at the shape on this thing is incredible. Awesome, awesome work on this one, Matt. So real quick, just a heads up, if you go over to the Highland Woodworking YouTube channel, there's a video of me over there giving the product tour of the stair combination squares. I know a few of you have been asking me about when that's going to be out, so it is out now. Check it out. There'll be a link in the cards and in the description to that as well. Also, over at videowoodworkers.com, there is a silent auction for a few of these memorabilia type things. Just something that we all signed that we auction off to help pay for the cost of outfitting the booth, because that's not free. So there's a little auction there for some hand saws that are signed, as well as a signed poster with all of our beautiful headshots on it. So if you're interested in that, take a look and enter a bid. So I think that's about all I have for you this week. Thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments about anything I talked about today or anything here in my shop, please feel free to leave me a comment. As always, I appreciate those, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking.